Do prophets ever have doubts? Hey, everybody, it is Wednesday. Orange Ugly Chair, time for Bible study. I really would love it if you could join us at 7:30 this evening. You can join us downstairs in the fellowship hall. We'll be spread out, or you can join us online, but hope to see you then. All the information, if you want to join us online, is in the description of the video as always. All I want to point out to you now, draw your attention to, is this odd little story. We'll be reading tonight, by the way, the latter half of Matthew 10 and the beginning of chapter 11. So read chapters 10 and 11. And at the beginning of chapter 11, you run into this strange story. This strange story in which the messengers come from John the Baptist to Jesus to ask him this strange question: are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? Now, it's a strange question because this is coming from John. And if you just read the Gospels, John is the last guy you expect to have doubts about the identity of Jesus. John, first of all, is a genuine prophet. He's a genuine prophet of the Lord. He's the last of the great Old Testament prophets. He is in for example, in Luke chapter 1, verse 17, in announcing John's conception and birth, the archangel Gabriel, who is a pretty good spokesman for you if you want, says that he will be the fulfillment of the last prophecy of the canonical Old Testament. So the absolute last prophecy in the Old Testament, at least as it's arranged in the order that we read it, is from Malachi chapter 4, verse 6. And the angel says that John will be the one who will go before the Lord in the spirit and power of Elijah to make ready for the Lord a people prepared. So no questions about his authority here, his divine mission. Later in Luke chapter 1, verse 41, when Mary visits her cousin Elizabeth, we read that the baby, and that is John the Baptist, in Elizabeth's womb, she was heavily pregnant. Mary was also pregnant. That the baby, that is John, leaped in his mother's womb at the presence of the unborn Messiah. Much later, John chapter 1, verse 29, we read that in the presence of his disciples, John pointed to Jesus, apparently, saw him coming, and said, "Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." And really, you know the story. When Jesus comes to John to be baptized, John's response is, "I should be baptized by you, not the other way around." So up to this point, we have no reason to doubt that John knows exactly who Jesus is and what he has come to do. John is a genuine prophet of the Lord. And then all of a sudden, in chapter 11 here, there's a question. Are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another? That sure sounds like a moment of doubt, or at least hesitation, doesn't it? So what's going on here? Why all of a sudden would John wonder about this? Why would he have second thoughts? Well, the clue is up in verse 2, that John heard about the miracles and the teachings of Jesus while he was in prison. So John had gotten in trouble. In part of his teaching out in the wilderness, he was denouncing the sins of the nation of Israel and also of her leaders. And one of those sins happened to belong to Herod Antipas. Herod Antipas had, who was the king of Galilee and parts of Jerusalem. Herod Antipas, he was a client of the Romans. Herod Antipas had essentially stolen his brother's wife. Herod Antipas ran off with who was also, I believe, his half-sister. It gets weird. In any case, this woman Herodias, who had been married to his brother Philip, he ran off with her, married her, and John the Baptist pointed out that it is contrary to the law of God to marry your brother's wife. And This is one of the many sins for which God was holding the nation of Israel accountable. Well, Herod Antipas was actually pretty curious about John. He was really interested in John's work. Herod Antipas had a religious bone in him. His wife did not, and she was not amused by this preaching. And so she demanded John's arrest. John was arrested. He was thrown in prison. And even while he was in prison, we read that Herod Antipas liked to come and visit him and to hear him speak. Eventually, of course, Herodias demanded John's death and used her daughter Salome to achieve it. More on that another day. In any case, we run into John here in prison. Prisons are not pleasant places in any day or age, but prisons are especially unpleasant places in the 1st century AD. John almost certainly was a victim of torture. He was certainly being neglected, maltreated, and he had to wonder if this is how it was going to end. Is this what he was called to do? He was called to prepare the way of the Lord, and he had done what he could, and now he didn't see anything happening. He didn't see anything happening. He heard what Jesus was doing, but maybe Jesus wasn't moving fast enough for John. Just because he's a prophet doesn't mean he's patient. In any case, his messengers ask this question, "Are you the one who is to come, or shall we look for another?" And Jesus doesn't say yes. He simply says, "Go and tell John what you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. Lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. And the dead are raised up, and the poor have good news preached to them. And blessed is the one who is not offended by me." Clearly, Jesus didn't take offense at John's question, because he goes on after this to talk about John and to say that of all the people born to woman, none is greater than John. And then compares that to the kingdom of heaven he's bringing into the world. So in any case, yeah, I do think John doubted, at least momentarily. John didn't know. Things weren't happening the way John expected them to, even though he's God's man. And sometimes that happens to us. Sometimes, very often, things don't unfold according to the purposes and the plans that we have. And we do wonder, where is God in this? Have we missed him somewhere? Have we hitched our wagons to the wrong horse? Or pick the dumb metaphor of your choice, whatever. And at those moments, what Jesus is telling us here, I believe, is that in those moments, how do we deal with our doubt? Well, we ask ourselves, what have we seen? What have we heard? What has happened in our presence? Here, he's pointing out that, yeah, the blind are given sight, the lame walk, the dead are raised up. These are, for lack of a better word, facts on the ground, right? That these people have seen, they're witnesses. Likewise, in our moments of doubt, in our moments of trial, one of the questions we can ask ourselves is, what have we seen? What has the Lord done in the past, in our presence? Maybe not necessarily for us, but for the people around us. Have we seen people redeemed? Have we seen people revived? Have we seen lives changed? Have we seen lives saved? Have we seen the Lord work around us? And if we have, what does that mean? Because if all the things that Jesus pointed out to John's messengers, his followers, are true, then yes, Jesus is the one who is to come. He is the Messiah. Case settled and solved. If these things are true that we see, then we have the assurance that no, we're on the right track. We're following the right leader because we see what he has done. I really do hope to see you this evening, 7:30. Come on down to the church or join us online. I will see you then.